imagine sort of mixed feelings as a head coach in recent weeks. I mean, super proud to see so many players involved with Wales, but you must be down to the bare bones there in Swansea.
Yeah, no mixed feelings. Really pleased for the boys. That's our job as an organisation, is to make our players better. And as your players get better, they move up the food chain and they get representation. So it's it's awesome for them. Everybody's really behind those boys, and delighted that that we've got such a big contingent in the national squad. So no mixed feelings. We're delighted for those boys, and we'll get on with our job here.
Harry Deves and Morgan Morse were two players that we've spoken about quite a lot, banging on that international door for quite a while. I mean, how full was your heart when you saw them making their debut against the All Blacks?
Yeah, it was good. We, funny enough, just popped up on the train with my family to watch them, so we decided to go up on the train, so we got all the atmosphere, and bumped into young Jensen on the train. He was going to watch Harry. He played for the under-10s, I think it was, in Pontyclun. So just seeing those types of people going up to watch Harry was awesome, and I know Morsey will have had the same support that Harry's had from his local club as well. And I think that's kind of why you do it, isn't it, as a player and as a coach, is so you get those opportunities and you can share a little bit in their moment. And I think I'm just really pleased. It's a big honour to pull the shirt on for your country. It's your biggest honour. It's to do that. So they've had that privilege, and I'm hoping that it's really fed the thirst for more. I hope they don't feel like it's, and I'm sure they don't, but I hope they don't feel like, oh, I've achieved something now. It's like, right, okay, I want to do it again now, and I'm thirsty for more.
Can I ask how Jack Morgan is? Obviously a massive blow for club and country. I mean, have you had a chat with him? How long do you think he'll be out for? Yeah,
look, I have had a chat with him. Almost immediately after it happened. Just left him a voice note, and Jack, as always, got back to me ASAP. And it's very disappointing for everybody, but in particular Jack. He was dead keen after having a little niggle with his calf to get back playing, and he was looking, at his imperial best, wasn't he, in the game itself. And we were excited about getting him back into our programme as well, because he makes such a difference to our squad, not just on the field but off it as well. His leadership and how he is as a man around the environment, just infectious. So really disappointed, but look, he's had his operation, as you know, and it's all gone really well, and he's on his road to recovery, and he's in that race now to get back as soon as he can. In terms of time frames, I think we're talking that sort of months as opposed to weeks, and it'll be 4 to 5 months basically, based on what we've heard, but obviously those things can change, so we're just working off that basis at the moment.
Just trying to do the maths of that, we'll probably rule him out the Six Nations, I'm guessing.
It could do. Like I say, I don't want to put any ceilings on Jack, and we've got good medical team around us here, and everybody heals at a different rate, but it certainly puts a bit of pressure on. But I know, Jack he'll get himself right, and he'll be back, and he'll never compromise the team by coming back too early and not being 100% right. He knows he needs to be, if you're going to go back and play for the Ospreys or international rugby, you need to make sure you're fully healed, and he'll make sure he gets that bit done first and foremost, rightly so.
Yeah, you've got to feel sorry for them. He's had the ultimate high this year, and I guess some of the biggest lows of his career. Yeah,
and he was so durable. He played 30 odd games for us, and high minutes as well in those games. Was very physical in all those games. I can't think of one game where he wasn't probably in the top 3 players on the pitch, and we played some pretty good opposition last year. So he was very durable. He is very durable. Like, this is one of those things. He gets it scoring a try of all things. So that's why I said to him, don't score so many tries, he won't get injured. But look, to answer your question, he's great. He's fine. He's working hard. I think I even read somewhere he's got some sort of cryo chamber in his house at the moment. So that tells you what he's trying to do and how quickly he's trying to get back.
Well, if anybody can get back, it's him. Let's talk about selection headaches, not good headaches this weekend. I mean, how far down the factory line have you had to go looking for players to fill the gaps?
Oh yeah, look, we're utilising everybody on the factory floor. There's no doubt about that. But I got to say, the challenges that we faced, the players have been incredible in terms of their mindset, and we've put an awful lot of work into our game in this period. We gave them a good 10 days of total rest, and then built them back up before they came back in, because we wanted to make sure we could really get into some stuff on and off the field. And players have been great. It's just the challenge is just the depth, and trying to create opposition, meaningful opposition when you've got injuries and bumps, etc. Trying to keep 15 against 15 when you've got I think we've got 22 players unavailable at the moment. So it is a challenge. It's getting on for over half your squad. So that has been a challenge. But look, it gives opportunity. We've had some academy guys coming up, some transition players coming into the environment. So it's a real test of our depth and a real test of our environment in terms of how we try and get the most out of these boys over the next few weeks.
I imagine you're struggling at the forwards particularly. You're going to have to play some boys out of position.
There will be a little bit of adaptation from a couple of players, but nothing that probably some of those players can do. We've got very mobile hookers. We've got pretty athletic locks that can play in the back row, etc. So we have got some flexibility. I think it's a bit of a challenge behind your front line. The guys probably supporting that it's asking those guys to come out of position, which can be a bit of a challenge sometimes. But look, we're not a million miles away from getting a few players back as well from long-term injuries. So look, we know what we need to do on this game. We're going to a really tough place in the Hive. They've got a very, very good forward pack. Their set piece is very, very good. It's right up there with the top teams in the league around their ball winning from scrum and line out. They've got a really effective kicking game. And they've had some narrow losses as well. As much as they've got one win, I think, and 3 losses out of their 4 games. They've been right in their games, probably other than the Benetton game, which was a bit of a blowout. They've been really competitive, so similar to ourselves really in lots of ways. So we know the challenge is coming, and we've set some expectations around what we expect from each other, and we've given Edinburgh the respect they deserve, but actually our focus is very much on ourselves now with all the changes. Like you said, we've just got to go and deliver on our game and be the best we can be.
We've asked all the head coaches this week, how they feel about this test match on Saturday being outside of the international window. Where do you come in on that?
Yeah, look, I don't like it from a regional perspective because the Ospreys badge doesn't have its best players available and the more experienced players available to it. But look, it is what it is, and we know what it is when they're outside the window. We know as a team we're committed to supplying players to the national team. That's the agreement we've got in place, and it's not like it's been thrown upon us. We're aware of it, but it does make it challenging, and what it does do, it presents opportunity. It presents opportunity for our players to go and play another international game, but it also presents younger players an opportunity to come into the team. But I think one thing we try and do here at the Ospreys is set people up to succeed, and I think perhaps that's the compromising bit. I'm not sure if Wales are putting out their best team this week, with some young players in there supporting them with good people around them, then it would be a bit of a challenge. But I think it becomes a little bit of trying to plug the holes rather than setting players up to perform at a good level. So I think that's probably the bit that's missing out of it, and that's certainly the bit where we'd like to give young players opportunity, but put people around them to help get the best out of them. And I think you are probably compromising that both internationally and for the Ospreys as it stands currently.
Is there any possibility of players that are with the Wales squad and not involved this weekend being released to you?
No, all our players that are selected to play are obviously are going to either be utilised in the match day 23 or they'll be travelling reserves in case anybody gets injured in the warm up, etc. So not only are you losing your guys that are playing, you're losing the travelling reserves, which is a challenge. But I get it. If a player goes down in the warm up, you need to have front row cover, back row cover, lock cover. So I understand it. It is what it is. But obviously, what it does do, they're 3 players that would certainly be very useful for us this week. But they're on international duty, and we'll welcome them back in when the time comes.
You've had a few weeks since the first block of games. A bit of time to reflect. How do you reflect on those, and how important is it that you hit this second block, which includes European games, hit the block running, so to speak? Yeah, look,
clearly, professional sport is a results business. That's the league table is where everybody judges your performance. But one thing I've learned over time is, you can't let it get in the way of your process. There's a process to getting wins and performing, and we felt like from a process point of view, we actually got a lot out of the first 5 games. We feel like based on who we played and where we played, there was an awful lot of good in our game. But there's also some clear areas where we needed to tidy up, and if we're going to try and turn some of these 60-minute performances into wins. So we probably feel like we're a little bit light on points based on how hard we worked and how well we played in patches. But I think what's important for us is when we get our full squad back together, we get into the next block, that's when we'll be looking to really, really be critical around what we're trying to do. But I think from now, I'm pretty pleased with the way the young guys have come into the team, some of the experienced guys that have been missing. I think how the young leaders have stepped up. I actually think there's a lot to be positive around out the first block, and that's a pleasing thing. At the start of the year, we think we're building off a reasonable start point.
You did mention Edinburgh there in a previous answer, but just a final question: what sort of challenge do you expect from them?
Yeah, without repeating myself, but we know in the first few blocks, from a statistics point of view, they're very effective around their set piece. Defensive lineup's very strong. Their ball winning is excellent. They've got a very effective kicking game, and they create a lot of pressure for you defensively with that kicking game. So we need to be fully aware around our set piece for the full 80 minutes around that and the threats that poses to us. But we also need to make sure that we utilise our strength of our game as well, and our set piece for many seasons has been very effective, and we're expecting us to deliver there on our own game as well when we get our opportunities, and likewise when we've got the ball, we want to keep hold of that ball and play with the type of accuracy and consistency we've done in big parts of our games, and cause Edinburgh some problems when they're defending.
Well, I wish you all the best. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks very much. Appreciate that. Nice to see you.
Hi Mark, how are you?
Hi Steph, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Obviously good news that Keelan Giles has signed a new contract. Is there any update on Jack and Dewi potentially following Keelan and signing a new contract with the Ospreys?
No, not on those two in particular. There's lots of other good news around signings that we'll be releasing over the coming weeks, which is really positive. I think it's a real sign of positivity to our supporters in particular. We're a little bit in the dark, like a lot of us at the moment, but our supporters more so, because obviously they're not sitting where I sit and hearing the conversations I hear. But for me, as the rugby coach, you just want your homegrown talent and your influential players to be re-signing, and Keelan's the first one in quite a few that are going to be announced over the next few weeks. Obviously, Jack and Dewi, to be fair to those guys, they have been quite clear they're not going to be rushed into making decisions. They, like a lot of us, are waiting to hear what the plans are longer term, and then they can make some more informed decisions, and I fully respect that. We've made our stance clear on it. We are speaking to both of them. We have got offers in front of both of them, but I fully respect that they're going to focus on the international block as it is now for Dewi, and Jack's obviously come out of that. But I think we need to respect as well that they're focused on other things at the moment. But as soon as we can get into deeper conversation with them, we'll be looking to do that.
Yeah, I suppose any Ospreys fan listening to this interview will think that's a really positive sign that you've managed to retain some players out of contract. I mean, have you had the nod that the Ospreys are staying, or what's the sort of deal there?
No, I've absolutely not had that nod. But what we've got to do is we've got to make sure we just carry on and be as much as there's a lot of disruption going on at the moment. It's very much do your job, be the best professional you can be in whatever position you're in. Make sure that the Ospreys is in its best possible position for as long as it can be, and the decision makers will make their decisions, but we've got to make sure we keep creating a great environment here for everybody on and off the field, and hopefully that will send good signals. It'll keep a good energy around the room, and ultimately then we'll when hopefully some good news comes through, that we haven't gone backwards, or we haven't let the weeds grow under us. We're still in a really good position to kick on once we get the certainty.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Rhys Davies as well. I mean, he's been consistently excellent for the Ospreys and probably would have won more caps if injuries hadn't sort of occurred at the wrong time. Big opportunity for him this weekend. How happy are you for him, and how confident are you that he can replicate his regional form against the best team in the world, really?
Yeah, he's had a tough sort of 12 months really. If you go back to the sort of end of last season as well, he was in and out a little bit and was battling away with a couple of knee problems. But look, Rhys is if there was any guy that was built for playing against South Africa, it's Rhys. He's an unabrasive guy. He's very, very physical. Got a great mindset around the physical and the dirty side of the game. Excuse me. And you know, he will do exactly what it says on the tin. So I'm really delighted for him. Feedback has been good in camp. He's you know, he's developed and learning as he's going, and I think he's enjoying. Sorry, the man flu's catching up with me, I think.
Yeah, I just want to ask you as well, is James Fender injured? Because there was rumours that he's injured and that's why he's not involved.
Yeah, he has taken a bump. He took a knock in training. It's nothing too serious. So funny enough, sort of James this afternoon, he's got a little problem there that's just bothered him, and I think Steve, to be fair to him, in a short turnaround when there's lots of changes to the team, I think he just wanted to make sure that the 23 he had put out there there was no niggles or no potential niggles, so he's gone with who's fit and healthy really, and there was still a little question mark over James, so decided to park him for this week.
Yeah, just finally from me, Dwayne Peel was saying a couple of days back that it's become really hard to manage like the environment because of all the uncertainty. I'm just keen to get the Ospreys perspective. I mean, how tough is it, you know, I suppose it doesn't just affect the players, it affects the staff as well, doesn't it, the wider staff. So how tough has that been to manage that? And you know, it looks like you're doing a good job in terms of offering players contracts. Just keen to get your thoughts on that. Yeah,
look, to be fair, I don't think, you know, I'm managing the environment. I think, you know, one thing we do well here is we share the responsibility around how we run our environment, and I suppose what I have asked everybody to do is just be the best you can be. You know, certainly not being ignorant to people's feelings. Absolutely, we respect the challenges that there are for people both on and off the field. But like kind of like what I said to you really around the contracting stuff is we can't control who's making the decisions or what decisions they're making, but we can control our own behaviour, and what I'm trying to do is be a leader and lead from a positive mindset point of view, and be honest with players, but actually just be the best coach you can be, and I think if you do that, you give yourself the best opportunity whatever the future looks like. And I think all we try to ask players and staff and commercial staff and backroom staff is just be the best you can be as an individual, and I think that's all you can do, is just represent the Ospreys as best you can. So, you know, certainly at the Ospreys, you know, I've seen people do that in abundance.